Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
We're so thrilled to have on an incredible singer, songwriter, a pioneer in the land of synthesizers and keyboards, Howard Jones. Howard, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Eric. How you doing today?
Doing incredible. You know, I can't believe this 40th anniversary of the launching of your groundbreaking music. I remember when you came out and everything you were doing so cutting edge. What does it feel like to be 40 years into this now?
It feels really great, you know, to have survived the last 4 decades, because when you think about the changes in the music, in the way that we, listen to music over that 40 years. I mean, first album released, on vinyl,
right?
And then we've almost come full circle to that, I know, but all the changes in between. Wow. And it's been great to ride all those waves and still be here, doing it.
Well, and I've got to bring this up too, because you're not going to do it. You're too humble, but but talking about, you and I were talking about the first time I saw you on tour, which, you had all the incredible synthesizers and you had Jed doing the mime and everything. And do you feel kind of like you were ahead of your time, Howard, in that now everybody is back to doing the one-man band thing again?
Well, it was, I mean, it took a lot of explaining to people, and what I was actually, because it was actually more difficult than it actually looked like, because
you made it look like it wasn't difficult at all, though, Howard. Just the way you were doing it, because
people have never seen anything like that before. No. They were saying like it's all on tape, and it's all like he's just like pressing buttons and it all runs itself. It was really a struggle because the technology was quite crude in those days. So
right.
I had to program little sequences in before and play everything on top. But but the people who did get it and appreciated what I was doing, and so
to me, what you did, what you've always done so well, Howard, is you've always done an incredible job of melding music and art. And to where using the synthesizers and keyboards, and certainly your hit songs, which you've had, a number of hit songs, obviously New Day, and New Song that did so well. But also, I mean, so many of my favorites of yours, were not hits, like Welcome to Conditioning. It's like those are kind of songs that just get in your head and you can't get them out.
Well, I saw that as my job, to make little pieces of music that you couldn't get out of your head. That's the thing, because if I can't get it out of my head, then I know that it'll probably be the same for other people. So if I don't wake up the next morning with that thing going round in my brain,
right,
then I don't continue with it. I really want it to be embedded.
Well, and I think obviously that's worked also, Howard, because of how many of your songs have ended up in movies and TV shows now as well, years after they were first released.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think that because I always wanted to have my records on the radio. There was a lot of cool bands around my time, who shunned that. Didn't want to be on the radio. They just wanted people to listen to their. But me, I'd grown up with transistor radio. I was going to sleep with it, listening to pirate radio stations, and I wanted to be on the radio. And so when that happens and the songs become hits, which they fortunately did, then you become part of the culture of the time. And so that when people add that to their movie, it all makes it just brings back all those memories for people of that time, and it certainly does for me. Music is really important in films and TV shows.
Well, I got to bring this up too, Howard, to where, I certainly appreciated it. You also embraced music videos back in the day, when MTV showed music videos, and your videos were always so much fun and creative. And once again, it was almost like art put to your song.
Yeah, I mean, we were so lucky, actually. I think of it now, in the early 80s, we had all these new toys to play with. You had new ways to record in the studio. We had synthesizers, drum machines, all that stuff. And then on top of that, videos we could make.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's another way of expressing ideas, and also people could see what you looked like, and that became an important thing, because I always saw that as part of the creativity of doing what I do, the way you present yourself. It was different to the 60s and 70s, it was part of part of the creative process to create an image and to create a look, and so basically we were just having a ball making those videos and coming up with ideas. And
it shows, though. I mean, because they were so engaging, because I was already listening, I was already buying the vinyl, I was already listening to your songs. But then when I got to see the visual also, it gave a great juxtaposition, with the artistic way you approached them.
Yeah, I mean, because there were no real rules about how you made videos in those days. So going into the subway in London and filming, playing keyboards, and Jed in the in the chains, and then all these people going. I mean, it was such fun actually doing them. And then you think of like Everlasting Love. You got mummies walking around the streets,
Right.
ice creams. I mean, it's ridiculous, but was such a lot of fun to do that.
Well, and talking about the keyboards and everything also, you came out with your third album last year in your musical trilogy, which was, I believe, Dialogue. And it's been very well received, because once again, you're not one to rest on your laurels on what you've accomplished, Howard. You're able to push, the keyboards, the electronic. It seems like, to me, finally, it seems like the keyboards and the electronics have caught up with you somewhat.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting, making a new record, because obviously it's not going to get the attention that those early albums did, and but I still want to make it feel like I've put as much effort into them as I did those early records.
Mm-hmm.
For my fans who've stuck with me for four decades, they deserve that from me, and it also pushes me to keep improving, getting better at what I do. So that's the way I see it. And back in the 80s, I said to people, one day people will be able to do what I do now in the studio and in their bedroom on a computer. I did say that, and so and that is true. So if I'm going to be making a record now, it has to be, there's got to be so much more effort put into it, because people do stuff on GarageBand, GarageBand.
Yeah.
So you've got to raise your game considerably to make things that people can do simply.
Well, and the only difference too, Howard, is compared to, like the old Moogs and everything, to where you would take a cable and change where the cable goes. It's like, and you had to have a semi truck to haul all your keyboards. Now you can throw it in a backpack and walk down the street.
That's right. And which is great, because it does make music accessible to so many people, and we don't all have to be professionals. The whole, make music for the joy of making it.
Right.
And I see that as a really good thing. But people in my position, we've got to really go for it when we're making records, because otherwise people go, well, I can do that, on my laptop. You've got to go that extra mile.
Yeah, I've never thought that listening to any of your music, and obviously I've got to ask you this too. Are you working on some new tracks, some new, possibly another album for the big 40th anniversary?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. We wanted to do like a really comprehensive best of, best of Howard Jones, and I came up with this idea that, because my output has been so diverse, it goes from like No One Is to Blame to, as you said, Welcome to Conditioning. There's a lot of genre straddling things going on. So I thought, let's make it a 4 CD set. So there's one that's got the popular hits on, one the electronic stuff, and the remixes stuff, and then there's the sort of more chill stuff, the ballads and the more sensitive material.
Right.
But I've forgotten one of them. Oh yes, Curiosities. That's right.
Ah.
That is like things like weird covers I've done and obscure things.
And those are some of my favorites of yours, though, too, are some of the obscure, weird covers that you've done. And also, as an artist, Howard, you've been so great on showcasing other artists that maybe did not get, pushed out into the public as much, and then bringing them up on stage and singing along with them. I mean, how incredible is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been fun to collaborate with people and to I haven't done many collaborations during my career, but I picked out people I thought, wow, they are outstanding, and I'm sure I can learn stuff from working with them. And the electronic artist BT comes to mind, who I've done quite a few tracks with now. And he codes, he programs, he invents whole new genres of music. I mean, but one of his first gigs that he ever saw was coming to see me when he was 14, and
wow,
he's told me the story that really blew his mind and made him really want to be making electronic music. So we had that bond like from the start. So it's been fun.
How incredible! And also, I think of "Wouldn't It Be Nice?"
Yeah,
when you did that one, it's like what a great rendition of that.
Yeah. I'm struggling to remember that one, but I love the Beach Boys, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, and with electronic music, I've got to bring this up with the Let It Go Show tour. You're out on tour, and these are selling out. You're out with Boy George, and you're one of the headliners as well.
Yeah. I think it's a fantastic lineup. I mean, it's going to be a great night out for people who love music of the 80s. I mean, it's a great. I mean, there's going to be a lot of familiar songs in that 3 hours or so that night. I mean, we'd kind of waited to get the right lineup together for this tour, and so I think it's just going to be brilliant. So
I do too. But it's for you. It's like I think the hardest part would be, because I like a lot of your B-side songs too. I mean, obviously you're going to play some of the hits, but are you going to be changing up some of the other ones that you throw in to spice it up, Howard?
Well, that's a good question, because I mean, I've got 45 minutes for 50 minutes, and really it could be all hits, because I still leave some out. But what we do is we kind of throw some remixes in there, like the Cedric Gervais version of Things Gonna Get Better that we do at the end, as well as the main song. And then I've got Nick Beggs in the band, who was with Kajagoogoo, of course, the main writer with them. And so we can do Too Shy as well. So it's like and then I want to do something new, which is a track we just released on Spotify called Celebrate It Together. So I will get something brand new in there as well.
Good.
And then I always tweak the old songs to bring them up to date. So
that is amazing. Well, and how does it feel though now, Howard? 4 decades in, it's like to where not only that you have people our age at your concerts, but then you have like all the different age brackets singing your songs back to you.
It is really, when I see a young person in the audience singing along, my heart just goes through the roof, honestly. Because I think I managed to get a song into Stranger Things, series.
I was going to bring that up.
And suddenly I'm noticing all my numbers go crazy on. So what's happened? And then I suddenly realized they do their own playlists of the songs that are in the, and so so all these young people discovering the music for the first time. I mean, how exciting is that for me?
Right.
I mean,
once again, it's a whole new audience that is just introduced to Howard Jones and embracing this music.
Yeah, it's really, really that's a big thrill. And of course, I'm super pleased that people, my core audience has stuck with me this whole time as well, of course.
Obviously. Well, and I got to bring this up too, Howard. It's like back when the Jones brothers, coming from a musical family as you did, back when you guys were first forming your bands and doing all this stuff, did you have any idea that, 40 years later, that you would still be doing this out on a major headlining tour, still releasing new music, and even talking about a 4 CD comprehensive view of your career. Did you ever think about that?
No, no. When we started playing together with me and my brothers, we didn't even have proper instruments. We had the pots and pans from the kitchen as drums, and we had an old guitar that my brother played, and of course I played a bit of piano, but we all sang. So we could do harmonies together, and I think that was a big you know introduction to feeling the joy of making music, as kids. And there was a point where three of my brothers had a band, and it was called the Jones Boys, but I wasn't in it, and they nearly got signed to a huge deal. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be totally left out of this. They are going to be like massively successful, because the music they were making was so good, honestly. But somehow it didn't go through, and then my career kind of took off. But it's weird how things go, isn't it?
Yeah. Your career did kind of take off. I got to ask you this too, just for my own edification. When I come and see you guys, on this tour with the Let It Go show tour, please tell me that you're still going to walk out into the crowd with a wireless microphone and be singing while your keyboards are up playing on stage.
Well, I've gone back to using a proper mic because it sounds better on my voice. Because my engineers got fed up of having this quite a thin sound.
I get it.
Look, you really so I can walk out with it, and I've got my keyboard. I can play the keyboard, but I'm sort of short of one hand, really.
If you bring back a mime into the show, though.
Yeah, I need a sort of prosthetic thing to hold the mic like this, so I can get the sound I want and the thing. But I will. Thank you for reminding me of that, though. I will try and do a version of that.
I mean, it was once again seeing you as a teenager that first time when I did, it was spellbinding. Just to see, you were on this like lazy Susan that was moving you and your keyboard spinning around in circles, and you had a mime and you had another keyboardist, and I was like, it was just a visual spectacle which matched your music.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought that keyboard players traditionally were the ones that just sort of stood at the back and didn't do much, because they were. And I thought I really wanted to break the mold of that and be able to be mobile, have mobile keyboards, and run around and leave the. So I've always been trying to think of ways to do that. So,
and also you had incredible fashion taste to match it with your clothes and everything, just like the shirt you're wearing today.
Yeah. Well, as we were saying before, it's like it's part of the creativity to me, and to encourage people to be who they are. A lot of people feel that they can't actually express who they really are, and I think that's another role that we might have, is to say, yeah, come on, you can do this. I can get away with it, so can you.
It's definitely empowering. Well, I want our viewers to know, Howard, for the tour, for the Let It Go show tour that you're going to be that you're out on, and then also for the 4 CD covering 4 decades of your incredible music career. Obviously, Dialogue already came out this past September. Where should viewers go for everything Howard Jones?
Well, I mean, there's the website, howardjones.com. My personal favorite is Twitter, because I do everything myself there. But we've got Facebook, we've got, Instagram, which I'm gradually getting more into. But Twitter's my sort of personal voice. So if you want to,
well, now, and I have to ask you this too. I would be remiss, Howard. Are there any new keyboards or anything that are going out on tour with you or into the studio? Because I know you're always tapped into the newest technology.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am. The thing I'm most excited about at the moment is I'm here in Santa Monica, and my great friend Bob Clearmountain, who's mixed out at least 2 or 3 of my albums in the past, is mixing some of my big songs in Dolby Atmos. You've heard that, the full 11 speaker thing,
right?
and it is mind blowing. It's mind blowing hearing it, what he's doing with that. So that's my current like keeping up with technology excitement phase going on at the moment. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, you know, and I'm sure you're taking more than one or two keyboards out on the road with you also.
Yeah, but you know, we use a lot of software now as well because it's really good. Sounds good. I mean, one of the things I want my music to sound amazing out the front, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we keep everything digital right until the moment it goes into the big PA system. So you can get everything sounding super duper.
Wow.
And the vocals sounding good. And, you know, so that's an advantage of being, you know, half electronic musician and half player as well, that we can make that give you a real superb, you know, pristine sound. And we work very hard on that to get that to work. Yeah.
Well, and you've always been such a pioneer with the electronics, but also, Howard, you know, truthfully, your songs, just great lyrics, you know, just, you know, once you listen to the lyrics of the songs, they really have meaning. And also, you always have brought along a positive message.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that because I always saw music as the thing that could help you get through, you know, a difficult time. You know, we all go through bad patches, you know, when we need a boost, and music can like just help you get over that little hump, you know, and to get over to the next thing. You know, things can only get better. You know, if we completely blow it, we throw, you know, we make a mess, but we can turn it around, you know.
Right.
So if it's bad now, we can make this better, and this is the theme I've tried to keep going through the work. Yeah.
I think you've got new music in you too. So, I mean, besides, you know, the covering the 4 decades, you may have to start working on your next new album for the next decade.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of my time here in California. I'm going to start with lyrics this time before I actually do them. Normally I do all the, you know, the music first and then come with the lyrics. But this, I'm going to do it the other way around this time. So,
how incredible. Well, I can't wait you have to come back on the show then.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Eric.
Well, it's an honor. Howard Jones, thank you so much. Once again, it's like, I know everybody's going to want to see you on tour with Boy George on the Let It Go show tour. And you're going to be touring all over the United States. And I think it's probably going to go on further, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that tour is going to be, you know, here in the States, 25 dates. And then I go to do my own shows back in the UK in October. You know, to celebrate the 40th anniversary. So we're looking forward to that. And then we're going to Japan and Europe next year. So yeah.
It's like the 80s all over again.
Yeah. The better 80s. I mean, you know, it's great that people still want to come out and see us. You know, it's a thrill. You know,
well, I think your songs certainly have held up to the passage of time. Howard Jones, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.